I want to get to something that baffles me, and the man here is an expert. He's going to explain it to me. I want to turn to one industry that's streaming higher, gaming, eSports, also known as electronic sports, projected to become $1 billion industry this year, and you guessed it, there's an ETF for that. In fact, there's two of them. Investors looking to get their game on, and the eSports hype have two exchange-traded funds to do so, the VanEck Video Gaming and eSports ETF. The symbol here is ESPO. That's a market cap weighted index of companies involved in the gaming and the esports world. And just this week, the Nerd ETF, yes, NERD, also launched on the New York Stock Exchange. Its holdings include game publishers, streaming network operators, and hardware companies involved heavily in that space. Ed Lopez is the head of ETF product development at VanEck and one of the masterminds behind this. Can you explain to me, I understand that people like to do gaming. I get that. Gaming's a bigger business than the movie business today. But watching people play games is a bit like a mind stretch to me, and yet the business is huge. How do you explain that?
That's amazing to me too, and that's one of the reasons why when we looked into it, we decided to launch this thing. There's a lot going on in the video game space. But to your question, I think it's a little bit like traditional sports. If you play traditional sports, you like to see other people play it at a really high level. Today, it's a new generation with technology that's really facilitated online gaming, interactive content, and new outlets for entertainment for a younger generation that play games, and now they have the opportunity to see people play games at a very high level. Yeah. And I think that's one reason why you're seeing this kind of.
So you went to a big game at, was it Madison Square Garden?
So Madison Square Garden. I went to the League of Legends finals here a year or two ago with my son, and I have to tell you, it was one of the best sporting events I've ever been to. People are excited because this is a game they play, and like Ed said, they get to see the pros play it. I'm not going to go play football at the age of 52, but I can play this game and then understand.
So it has to do with how heavily invested you are in that. If you're really into basketball, you're going to get excited. If you're really into
League of Legends,
you're going to get excited
Fortnite
about it.
Or any of these games.
Will people watch anything at this point? There are babies that are opening presents that are millionaires on the internet now. I mean, I don't know what it means overall. How's the fund doing? How did you create it?
Yeah,
you
we
obviously
launched it late
saw the need
last year. It's 24 million right now. We had to go through the last quarter of 2018 with some of the tech stock stuff. Great attention. We've had some flows in, so it's doing well right now.
I noticed you have, it's a pretty concentrated portfolio. You have Nvidia 7%, Nintendo 7%, Tencent, that's the Chinese gaming company. That makes sense. 7%, 60% are just 10 companies. Yeah. There's just not a lot to buy, right? I guess.
Well, there's a universe there, and I think the key with the thematic ETF is trying to get pure play exposure. So for VanEck, what we try to do is identify those companies that are earning a majority of their revenue from that space, and then providing a nice liquid structure for that too. So there's a couple aspects to introducing a thematic ETF. One is not only the pure exposure, but making sure you have something that can scale, that can provide a nice trading experience for people, so with tighter spreads. So you want larger companies, you want liquid companies, you want pure companies.
The video game industry surpassed the movie industry in revenues several years ago, and now I see, some research we did for this, eSports will raise over $1 billion in revenue this year. eSports, just people watching the video games, will raise $1 billion.
It's people watching, it's people, companies paying for media rights, advertising, video game publishers paying sponsorships to streamers. There's a whole new ecosystem.
So where does augmented reality play in here? Have you any sense that I'm a little, the whole augmented reality and virtual reality thing has sort of held back the last few years because the promise is not kept up with the reality, I think. But that seems like tremendous potential.
I would think so.
If you have to put yourself in a dungeon with a machine gun, and it's like we're sitting here, and I'd kill you immediately, by the way, Dave. But that would be exciting. I'm just trying to get you excited over this.
I don't think VR is quite where it needs to be right now. Maybe in time. I think one of the next steps for the industry is going towards mobile and going towards cloud gaming.
Yep.
Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense, and I do think that this is a very fast-moving space. It's not surprising that the two funds here are very concentrated. Different approaches, slightly different portfolios, both of them actually giving you that pure play exposure, though, and that's generally the hardest thing. I've been on the show talking about some of these funds that I just don't think get it done. I think these deliver the pure play exposure.
Tell me you're a hidden League of Warriors, gamer or something like that, Nick.
I've got nothing on that count, but I do respect this as a global phenomenon. This isn't just in the U.S. US, it's even more important in China.
Yeah.
Hence the 10% exposure. It's a global phenomenon, and it's just going to continue to grow. Moore's Law will double computing power every 2 years for the next 10 years. Imagine the games you'll play in 10 years' time. We'll all be able to not just go to an esports event, but to perhaps be in the game with the champion.
Yeah, and yet the assets under management are still pretty modest.
They're still pretty small, still a young ETF.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a lot of potential for the space. I think one thing a lot of people don't recognize or appreciate about the video gaming space today, esports is the tip of the spear. Video gaming is a $140 billion business. And what's happening is it's providing a venue for people to find that interactive online content, a place to hang out. It is, I think, going to help transform video gaming. So it's not just about buying video games. It's about an entertainment experience.
Yeah.
You have professional sports buying esports teams. It's going to be a big industry.